Yo, 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 welcome back. Welcome back. Yeah, yesterday, a little rough, man. Like I said, everything was just coming in, and it just seemed like the news just would not stop. But today I don't really want to talk too much about, some. Well, I mean, it is a pretty relevant, current, but how familiar are y'all with the psychological, I guess you would say, phenomenon called the Dunning-Kruger effect? So it's basically where people with low abilities to perform a task overestimate their abilities when performing that task. And it could have dire consequences. For example, if you somehow end up becoming the president of a country that has over 300 million citizens, a pandemic hits, and the only qualifications that you have are running failed businesses and a reality television show. You see, it's not just our president, though. There's this dichotomy called meritocracy versus nepotism. Meritocracy is the world that we all wish we lived in, where you're based on merit. If you work hard enough, if you do what you're supposed to do, if you connect the dots and you keep persevering, you will get to where you're supposed to get to. We know that's not how life works. There's too many obstacles and there's too many things that come at you out of nowhere for you to really stay on the path that you always, thought you were going to get on. Something's going to knock you off. It doesn't mean you won't, succeed, but it does mean that you have to be more realistic. Now, nepotism, on the other hand, is where you've heard the old adage, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Yeah, and sometimes that's great. I have no issue with hiring people that you know, people that you're friends with, hiring family. I have no problem with that. As a matter of fact, that's not even technically defined as nepotism. What nepotism really is when you start to look out for these certain people that you've given positions to. It's when you start to promote people to positions that they shouldn't be promoted to just because of the relationship that you have with them. And in particular, I want to speak about somebody who hasn't really done much, but the fact that he stays so quiet, and then when he does speak, it's in a calm, reserved, to a degree articulate way, and that's Kushner. Not that many people really talk about Kushner, except, I mean, mainstream media will speak about him from time to time, but there's always some glowing reviews. And even when they're trying to be tough on him, like the Van Jones interview and things like that, it's like they're just giving him softball stuff. It's like they're trying so hard not to just ruffle feathers. It's like they're being sycophants. And the funny thing is, that's exactly what Kushner is, because he defends Donald Trump to a T. And if you know anything about the history of Donald Trump's relationships, if a person shows favor to him and continues to show loyalty to him, he will go above and beyond to give them his undying gratitude. He will do whatever he can for them. That's why he turned on Sessions. That's why he turned on really everybody, what I'm saying, during the impeachment trials. I mean, he'll have somebody in 5, 6, 7 pictures and like 4 or 5 videos with him and say he never met the person before. So that's just how he is. Everything that Donald Trump does is transactional. The way that he runs this country, he believes is a business. So therefore, if he can just get that bottom line just right, then he can save the business. But this isn't a business. This is a country, and that's the difference. But see, he hires people the same way that businesses hire people, based on what can you do for me? What do you know about what I want? And do I know you? Do I know your people? Are you this and that? Not really how good are you at your job? What are your qualifications? What exactly do you hope to do in this position? None of those kind of things. No, 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 no. It's always about who you know. And because if you look at his cabinet, the people that he put in there, well, none of them were really qualified for the positions that they ended up with. Some were actually the antithesis of where they ended up at. Ben Carson was basically against all things that seem to be helping the safety net, the social safety net. He was against all programs. Like, yeah, just because they help me don't mean anything. I think they can be a hindrance and a crutch for Black America. So then you put him in, the head of HUD, Betsy DeVos, who hates public education, and instead of trying to change it or do anything good about it, you put her in there to completely dismantle it, hurting generations probably. You got Mnuchin in his position. You had Sessions as the AG, who's had a not a criminal record, but who's had a history of just being on the wrong side for the most part when it comes, not necessarily socially, because I know it's a legal position, but when you think about, you made him a person of all of all everything, like of all, dang, I can't think of the wording right now, kind of like all judicial proceedings, but I mean, he's just, when you're AG, you're above all law enforcement. That's what I'm looking for, right? So you have the ability to craft the way that law enforcement interacts with the communities that they interact with, because you are the top dog. So everything that you say can come down. You have the ability also to do things about the war on drugs. You can change the scheduling of marijuana or other drugs and stuff like that. So he puts people in positions that he knows are going to do the bidding for him. And the minute they stop doing everything that is aligned with his, I wouldn't say agenda, because that's giving Trump a lot of credit, but everything that's aligned with his motives and his intentions, the minute you stop doing that, you are no longer in his favor. And somebody who has never wavered is Kushner. Not just because he's married to Ivanka, but because he honestly believes that the more that he does in Trump's favor, the more positions that Trump gives him, because Trump has given him so much responsibility. He's supposed to do Middle East peace. He's doing criminal justice reform. He's doing, he's in charge of, I guess, the healthcare task force now. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got so many hats that he wears. He's the senior advisor. We're really just trying to figure out, like, what exactly is it that you do? What have you done? So I guess I'm saying this all to say that the most dangerous thing is somebody who doesn't have the capacity to complete something that is necessary to save lives, but having them put into that position regardless. And if Kushner is going to have a big hand in the way that the coronavirus response and the task force is operating, and it doesn't seem like he's actually been able to, come up with really good practical solutions to anything that he's been tasked with. Y'all saw the piece, the Middle East peace agreement plan that he tried to put out there that basically said "fuck you" to the Palestinians and gave every type of thing that the Israelis wanted. Like, it was horrible. Like, you can't have a standing army and this other kind of stuff, and it was ridiculous, y'all. I'm sorry about that, but anyways, so look, Dunning-Kruger effect. I'm sure y'all have seen it in all kinds of things, all kinds of people, all kinds of positions that they've been put in, probably in the places that you work and stuff like that. But that's probably not as bad as what it is when it comes to somebody like Kushner. And that's somebody that you guys need to watch. And by saying you need to watch him, I mean, we tend to put a whole bunch of emphasis on people who really don't matter. Not saying that Donald Trump doesn't matter at times, but people get so engulfed with what Trump's doing that they don't really realize what Mitch McConnell's doing. You know what I mean? So it's like you need to watch certain characters and certain figures, because with the positions that they're given, the authority that they're given, the decisions they're allowed to make, they will have very, 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 very bad consequences for a lot of people that won't come to light until months later. So, y'all, please keep an eye on Kushner. See everything that he's doing, because just because he seems like he's all there, just because he talks with that calm, quiet demeanor, just because he sounds like that smart, Harvard-educated guy, just break down what he's saying and realize he ain't saying shit. And that's a problem when he's in charge.